Hey everybody, it's Pete. Welcome to Stock Trading Pro. Today's episode of Stock Trading Pro, we're going to do a deep dive into Tesla stock and determine, regardless of the price, is Tesla stock the best stock to buy now in the entire list of electric vehicles companies. We're actually going to break down the $3.3 billion Q1 profit, what it means going forward. The guidance obviously is the big part of what we watch every single day when we have earnings. Our earnings is now in full stride. We're actually going to talk about something else today, which was a part of my research from last night. You can bring this in. This is a part of the market that's actually confusing a lot of people right now. As I do nightly research and we give everybody the list of stocks to buy, we're seeing a much bigger list of stocks on the short side of the market. We're even seeing stocks outperforming from a list perspective, where a lot more stocks are net negative than net positive. So it's driving a lot of people crazy. We're going to talk a little bit about tape reading today, but we're mostly going to focus on Tesla stock. We're going to compare Tesla's earnings that we just saw, record $3.3 billion quarterly profit in Q1. But more importantly, withstanding all of the supply chain issues that everybody's complaining about for the last year and just blowing the doors off it. Then we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into other electric vehicle stocks. We have a whole list we're going to break down. We're going to do that on the weekly charts. We're going to do a little bit of technical analysis, a little bit of tape reading. And then we're actually going to get into the sector rotation. You can see where we are. This is the part that is frustrating for a lot of people right now. Let me actually zoom this in just a little bit. You can see here, consumer cyclical, where Tesla is stuck right in the middle. Really nothing exciting there. And the areas of the market that normally carry the market are kind of near the bottom. Financials not really doing that much. Technology not doing that much. Healthcare actually rolled over in a hard way after being one of the strongest groups. So we're going to break all this down, but we're going to start out with Tesla. We're going to break down the numbers, just absolutely amazing. Let me bring this in just a little bit more right there so you can see. So Tesla stock, Tesla company, is it one of the best stocks to buy now? Absolutely. It's just a question of what your risk tolerance is at this particular point. Now, one thing I want to point out before we get into a little bit more of a deep dive here, everything that we discuss is for educational purposes only. Every decision that we talk about here right now is my decision. It's up to you to make the final decision on your own ideas. But let's break this down. They're actually talking about boosting productions, and they've already done $3.3 billion for this quarter. China is going to be a big part of that. They're expanding everywhere. This is the big thing right now, is vehicle production and the growth of what they're expected. Long-term goal is to increase deliveries by an average of 50% annually. That is a staggering number. Just amazing. I don't know if there's anything else. He's such a polarizing figure. Elon Musk, you love him or you hate him, and it just seems he's dominating the headlines right now. And as an entrepreneur, I can tell you it's just absolutely amazing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little bit of a dive into Tesla stock, other electric vehicle companies, maybe even go tangential a little bit and go into electric vehicle charging stocks, which look pretty good about a month and a half ago, but they've kind of lost their shine again. But I think this is probably the biggest thing here with Tesla and Elon Musk, is that they are overcoming, for lack of a better way of putting it, what a lot of other companies are deeming as the reason for lack of profitability. Earnings season has kicked in. Financial stocks are doing a little bit better than expected right now. They've actually rallied this week. But even with a month of loss of production, they still produce this number. So the other stocks in the electric vehicle area that we're going to compare it to, NIO, XPeng, LI, and obviously some of the other ones that we might call United States. So we're going to break down this list over here, but you can see where it is right now. It's actually up almost $75 pre-market, which actually ironically takes it right to the top of the box that has been in right around here, give or take a dollar, maybe like right around there, give or take, right? So is Tesla a buy right now? Does Tesla have an edge? Let's be clear about this right now. The buying pressure in Tesla, or the selling pressure test, I really should say the order flow, has basically been as neutral as possible. And the traders that I know, traders in our community that have been trading the stock a little bit more aggressively, have been doing it mostly off of this chart, which is why we are going to be mostly focusing here. It's since the end of November of last year, the stock has really been vacillating between buying and selling pressure for the better part of 5 months now. And the reason that active traders now shifted away from the daily charts towards the weekly charts is just that, quite frankly, it's been easier to read. It's been easier to identify when there's been pockets of opportunity. But I want to be clear, if we work the charts like we do all the time, there really has not been an amazing opportunity here. We had this rally off of the Fed announcement, and as most stocks did, but really prior to that, there was really selling order flow since the start of January. Quite frankly, like a lot of stocks in the stock market, the S&P 500 mimics that pretty much perfectly, where we're kind of in the middle of the trading range for 2022. So again, as a trader, you need to shift into where the easier order flow is to read. And right now that is on the weekly charts. And we're really looking for how often and how long has smart money been allocating to buy push stocks up, push stocks down. And are they doing it for 2 weeks? Are they doing it for 1 week? Are they just doing it for today? We are in the current stock market cycle right now where you need to do game planning. You need to be on top of your game. And it is pretty much week to week right now, if not day to day. We're kind of pulling ourselves out of the day-to-day stuff and really looking at a little bit bigger picture. And I know bigger picture week to week sounds strange to those of you that are investing, but the week to week is really where we're spending most of our time right now. So that's how we're going to actually break down Tesla. So if we look at yesterday's price action, we look at the last 4 weeks, quite honestly, we have what we call melted candles. There's 4 weeks of indecision heading into yesterday's earnings. And I think that's what the stock was looking for. It's actually looking for that clarity. Are they going to be held back by the same numbers and the same complaints, the same excuses that a lot of other companies have? Are they excuses? I don't know. You tell me. The stock's up $75. He's dealing with the same supply chain issues as everybody else. How is he doing it? So 4 weeks of indecision, melted candles, you might know them as doji candlesticks, are out of the equation now. Will we follow this up? So we get a lot of questions very similar to what we talked about in this stock yesterday and how we plan to trade it. We basically said where it opens is going to be the tape reading line that we'll be watching. Same thing with this stock today. I am expecting bullish follow through in Tesla stock today. So if this happens to be where it opens, that's going to be my line in the sand. But I really want to compare this to other stocks right now in this group and whether or not there is a clear winner. Now, obviously, from a price perspective, Tesla is the winner. From a business advantage, a first mover advantage, Tesla is the winner. But we're going to do a breakdown on all of these electric vehicle stocks and just see which ones actually make the most sense from a order flow perspective. And I think what's going to be interesting is we're going to find that from a longer term order flow perspective, they're all kind of stuck in the mud right now. And I guess you could really understand that. So we see Tesla chart here. We break down Ford. Ford is actually bouncing a little bit. You can now see that Ford actually is now well bid. So this is what we've been talking about. This is what we're looking for from 1 week to the next in price action. Higher highs, higher lows, and closing near the highs. So Ford, while still in bearish order flow from the beginning of January 2022, it is showing signs of life. It is showing a little bit of a rally. And again, around $16. General Motors, same thing. 2 weeks of well bid. Selling, should have broke down, didn't. Inside candlestick, came back up, looking for a potential reversal. So the big thing I want to compare here now is what has the order flow been since the year started? So again, we're comparing this General Motors, Ford, and all these other stocks to Tesla. Tesla was actually the same exact thing where it went down. So if you are a new investor to Tesla, if you're a new trader to Tesla, you have to ask yourself, where is your edge? Is your edge just today coming off of earnings, or do you feel the longer term prospect of the company still has so much more upside that you're looking to invest in the company? If that's the case, we're both trading the same catalyst, but our approach to entering into the idea is dramatically different, because if it's a long-term investment from $1,000 versus you're looking to day trade or swing trade this stock, your risk parameters and your profit targets are going to be dramatically different. So General Motors and Ford look like they're coming off the bottom. We are not seeing that right now in NIO. Actually, let me get these guys off the screen here. NIO is still stuck. All right. NIO actually still has a big downtrend. It does not well bid like the other two stocks are. Same thing with XPEV. Same thing with LI. Now, if we go over to Lucid actually is at a big breakdown level, and RIVN is actually near at all-time lows, Rivian Automotive. So even from an order flow perspective, Tesla rallied with the market over this 2.5, 3 week period. And now it's rallying off of really, really strong and good pre-market price action. So what we need to do now is mark off the pre-market levels in Tesla. So we're actually going to break that down and go down to the earlier timeframes and see where we are intra-day, intra-morning, whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to break that down And let me pull that up. Where is it on here? All right, here we want to map off the highs and lows of where we are. Last night really doesn't matter because it's basically the same low as the previous day. So now what we're looking at is here, which ironically is right where we are trading right now. So we actually took out yesterday afternoon's high, which would have been here, but now we've actually made new highs. So we need to mark this off right now, basically 1,051.33, which is actually where we are. We'll keep monitoring it as the morning unfolds to see if that actually ends up being the high. But that's a pretty big gap. You're talking about 1,051 down to 972. So what levels do we use? Are there significant levels that we can be paying attention to? Well, this is where the dip buyers came in around 1,017 yesterday afternoon. So that's a pretty wide window. Would I be using this? Not really. Volume is decent here pre-market, but this is really where a lot of the action. You can see the news came out, it got digested. So these are really the levels that I'm going to be watching. That's how I'm mapping out Tesla this morning. So I'm going to have today's opening price, pre-market levels, and those are the levels I'm going to be reading the tape in Tesla to trade around today. As far as performance and consumer cyclical, you can see that real estate is near the top of the list. Just to give everybody an idea of one of the stocks that we've been watching for a while, which is this guy right here, EQT, continues to perform. Nice breakout here at $29. So again, we want to give you some ideas in the groups of stocks that have been performing well. However, we want to dip our toes a little bit into the other ideas that are setting up that are not extended. And I want to get into another idea that is interesting, which had earnings yesterday, which is this guy right here, IBM stock. And you can see that it actually hit this level, and it's a pretty significant level around 138. Bullish gap yesterday. Guidance on their cloud reporting was pretty darn good. If it stays above 138, then I'm looking for a new swing trade in IBM as long as it's above that level. If it closes on the daily chart back below, down that level, I'm going to not hold that swing trade. So a pretty clean one. Had really good order flow yesterday. On the other side of the market, tech stocks, which we just pointed out, NVIDIA and AMD, two really big tech stocks that kind of carry the weight in this particular industry group. If they do not rally here, they have a lot of room to the downside. So it's going to be very interesting. As I pointed out before, this is the stats, part of the stats that I gave everybody in our community last night. This is kind of stuff that we do every day. We actually create a big list of ideas at the end of the day, from which stocks are the list to buy, which stocks are the list to sell. This, I think, is interesting here. The short sell list, stocks that meet bearish order flow, was twice the size of the list of stocks to buy, plus the list of stocks that closed above the open, and net positive was 104. The list of stocks that had the opposite of that, bearish order flow, is 154. So the market right now is kind of churning. And really the point that I'm trying to make here is that you really need to do your game planning, very much like we're doing right now. Have a smaller list of stocks. Focus on that list of stocks. We are not in a market right now where if you make a mistake, the market's going to bail you out. We are, as we said before, we're kind of stuck in the middle of 2022's price action right now. We're no longer in this kind of price action. So you really, really need to drill down into the stocks that are meeting the criteria, and then go a little bit deeper into the stocks to buy and focus on those and leave everything else alone. I just can't say it strongly enough. That's easily the cleanest way to be trading this market, which is not really obvious from a bigger picture perspective. But oh my gosh, there are plenty of stocks to buy if you dig in and do your research. Have a great day, everybody. I'll speak to you soon.